It's all of them.
What is up, motherfuckers? Sorry, man. I hope you didn't copyright that shit. It's lame anyway. Nobody cares. Did I just slice balls in half? What's up, man? YouTube. Saturday. Cunt, chode, cocksucker, motherfucker, fuckface, douchebag. All of you who I've just named, please step up and get out of the fucking room. We are going to talk about sharp shit and foul language. So, if you don't like any of that, you can go fuck yourself and get the fuck out of here for the real men in the room. And women. Speaking of women, if you hear my old lady screaming over there, it's because she's killing people on her new game. It's actually called, I remember this, Apex. Because for obvious reasons why I remember that. So, if any of you guys are playing that game, go shoot her. Today, well, this is going to be a good weekend. What am I drinking? I'm drinking some Southern Tier Double IPA. This is good shit. No One You Know on Instagram. Go give him a follow. He's a cool fucking dude. No One You Know 5150. If you could figure that out, I like you even more. Made me go buy one of these. And he actually sent me, he actually lost his, found it, and is going to send it to me. I'm going to give it to my old lady. This is the Kershaw Cinder. This is the greatest bottle opener that has ever been created. Because it's made out of copper and it looks cool. And the fucking blade, I'm pretty sure, is made out of recycled Budweiser cans. So, let's talk. What are we talking about today? So, today's going to be a simple test. Today's going to be a fun test. Today's going to be some simple steals like you saw in the little thumbnail. As you can tell, I've already been drinking. We're going to do some simple steals. So, being that we're going to be doing simple steals, and I don't have a whole lot to talk about simple steals because they're simple, I'm going to talk about the last video I did real quick. It's never real quick. Cheers, y'all. Last video I did. Guys, you're melting my brain with this. To the people that come on here, okay. Was it the last test? Whatever one I did, where I did rope cutting and cardboard cutting with the M4, I think it was my last test. Stop trying to put a parallel. They're two different tests, okay? There is no parallel. They're two different media we're cutting, okay? Guys, I don't understand why guys... I understand. We all want to make shit so black and white. Like, that's what we want. We want everything to be simple and easy to understand, right? Like a football game. But it's not. It's two different media. You can't... There's not going to be a correlation between the two. Like, if you had... Like, it's like, you know, like tires. If you took, okay... Like, you bought a set of Goodyear, right? Those, like, you know, Voyagers or whatever, right? 70,000 mile tires, right? You took them tires, okay? And then you drove them on asphalt or blacktop, whatever, until they went bald, right? And you got 70,000 miles, let's say, or 75, whatever it is, okay? Took the exact same car and put the exact same set of tires back on it, and then you drove it over dirt, right? Until it went bald. Which one's going to get more miles? My money's probably going to go on the dirt, right? Why? Because dirt's less abrasive than concrete, okay? Even though the tire's the same, even though the goddamn material's the same, the abrasive that it's rubbing up against, aka dirt or blacktop, is different. So it's going to abrade it at different rates, okay? Okay, cardboard and rope, two different things, okay? There is no parallel. There's none. If you cut a lot of rope, you want to find out what it does on a rope, you go look at Pete's test. You want to know what it does with cardboard, you go look at me, your Outpost, Tom's. Speaking of which, I didn't give a thank you to anybody. Thank you, Vinny and Nero Knives. Thank you, Said Native Pete. Thank you, Nick from Stats 23. Thank you, Patty's Potato Peelers, Steve. Thank you to anybody that's ever shouted out. Brian over Slice Dicey. Congrats on the 7,500. And any other channels y'all need to go look for. In the Pocket, Banner 24/7, Blade Banner, Outpost 76. Blue Collar Survival, Woodland Tactical, Big Red EDC, and just because I was talking to him today, but everybody already knows who he is, Alchemy 1, please go watch his smock review. It was so good. It was so good. That knife looks like a fucking turd. It literally looks like, y'all ever seen South Park? I haven't watched South Park in a lot of years. Like the old one where they were shoving shit up their ass and it was coming out of their mouth. Those little cartoon turds that came out is exactly what the smock looks like to me. It literally looks like cartoon shit. There's no way that thing could be fun to use. I'm sorry. So if you, I'm sorry. I gotta say, like I haven't handled one, but it looks like a turd. But anyway, I know Lee, Bama. I know you're gonna be mad at me, but come on, focus. Come on. There we go. All right. Sorry, I know. Don't let the camera go to focus. So anyway, like I said, 2 different testing media. There is no parallel. Okay, there's not. Okay, it's just 2 different tests. That's it. If I was cutting zip ties, it'd be a totally different test. 100 foot of cardboard doesn't equal 100 cuts of rope. Okay, so like I was saying, let's just take these tests for what they are. All right, and use them as such, and not try to make comparisons. Like I get it's hard not to, guys, but like it's like enough is enough. I actually had one fucking retard. You've heard me call his name before. Skank Hunt. Skank Hunt. I'm beginning to think that you might not be very bright. This motherfucker literally wrote in my comment section. He's like, the reason people like rope more than cardboard is because it shows a better difference between the steels. Cardboard is too harsh on the edge. For an example, take your knife and cut glass or rock or something. He said, all the knives will dull within one cut. Did you, Skank Hunt, did you say that out loud before you put that on here? I feel like you didn't, because that's pretty fucking stupid to say. Yes, obviously, HCR 13 MOV's edge retention versus rock and M4 versus rock will probably be about the same. We can then move to a less abrasive media, which is cardboard, and then the gap widens. And then we can take another abrasive, maybe even a more abrasive media, which is rope against a wood board, and the gap widens even more. Trolls, guys, if you want to fuck with me in the comment section, please, like, really say it out loud and think about it before you here killing people. Before you get in the comment section, because it's there forever. Even if you erase it, it stays on my little feed thing, and I can see it, and I can put it up on Instagram, make everybody make fun of you, because that's some dumb shit to say. The reason, because cardboard is less harsh on the edge. Sure, yeah, or no, rope is less harsh on the edge, so it shows a different. A bigger gap between the steels. Yeah, on rope. No shit, buddy. So, anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. I've been getting a lot of questions. Guys been asking me again about HRC and heat treat. I get that a lot. Like I said, guys, the heat treat is everything on the steel. The geometry is another huge factor on it. I think I demonstrated in that little, my intellectual discussion. But what another thing I want to address, I'm tired of guys, specifically Elliot over at Ferrum Forge. Guy seems very, very bright, and I'm sure he is, and he's a hell of a knife maker. But I'm tired of people referencing him because he put in his video, and I watched the video, and he loves saying that people make too big of a deal out of an HRC number. Okay, which I say is fucking bullshit. Okay, because in that video, in the exact same sentence, he says, it's just a... It's a simple, like, non-destructive method to get a gauge at where the steel stands, but it doesn't really tell you anything about the steel's performance. Bullshit. Let's assume, okay, because, before I said it, because he then goes on in the same sentence and says something to the effect of, well, when we do our in-house heat treat at 20 CV, we found that at 63, 64 HRC, with our heat treat, it strike 20 CV strikes the best balance of toughness and wear resistance. Impact, toughness, and wear resistance. So clearly, the HRC has something to do with the performance of the steel. It's not just an arbitrary number like he likes to, like people are trying to make it out to be. It is an important number because fact of the matter is if you took it, if Elliot over there at Ferrum Forge, if you took your same in-house heat treat and heat treated the steel to 59, the HRC 20 CV, heat treated that to 59, then heat treated it to 63. By your own admission, the one he treated and taken to 63 HRC through austenizing and tempering and all that noise will perform better than the one at 59. By your own admission. So, stop saying that the HRC number is an arbitrary number. It doesn't really show anything, and it shows a tiny glimpse. Yes, at first glance at that number, it doesn't tell you if the heat treat's done well or not. But if I'm buying a Ferrum Forge knife, I'm going to make the assumption y'all did a good job with the heat treat. So I'm assuming if I'm buying a Ferrum Forge knife, I would rather it with your heat treat at 62 than at 59, because with your heat treat or with anyone's well-done heat treat, it's going to perform better at 62 than it is 59. So, again, a lot of guys, some guys are trying to hit me saying I'm making too big of a deal about the HRC number. I'm not. It's not just an arbitrary number. It's a fact. Harder steel is going to cut things longer than softer steel. Period. When the heat treat's done right. Okay? Again, when the heat treat's done right, assuming no one's botched shit, it's going to cut longer. So, today's test. Now that I got that all out of the way, Jesus. I think it's time for some of that creek water. Some of that Knob Creek water. If anybody's got any bourbon at home, we should play a game. Everybody drink with Steve, right? Get all that fun. Cheers, y'all. So, what's the test today? Simple steel. I thought this would be a fun one. I kind of had to rush this one out because Vinny over at Nero Knives loaned me this, and I've had it for like 4 months, and I haven't sent it back. It's just a fun knife. This knife right here is a Murray Carter. I believe he calls it the Perfect. Perfect, like neck knife or whatever. This is made out of Shirogami #1 steel, which is white #1. Very simple steel. Basically 1% carbon, and that's it. Very little impurities. So I wanted to run that up against everybody's favorite traditional GEC 1095, and then every broke motherfucker's favorite traditional a Case Sodbuster Jr. This is in CV steel, and from what I can gather, this is basically 1085 at this point. So the difference between these two steels composition wise is very little. This is 1085, meaning 0.85% carbon to 0.9%, I believe, or 0.95. This is 1095, which is 0.95 to, I think, 1.05 or whatever carbon. Again, these are, and this has 1% carbon. So all these steels are relatively around the same carbon level. And I wanted to do this test also to demonstrate really heat treat. It's really what I want to demonstrate. You've got 2 knives that are production knives, 1 knife that's a custom. Biggest also thing is you've got this knife right here, which is a much more mass-produced custom production knife. This is done, they make these by the thousands and thousands. Whereas this GEC is also a production, but a much smaller batch. So hopefully a better heat treat. And then you've got the 3rd level, which is a full-on custom, which should hopefully have the best heat treat. So that's why I wanted to do these, really to demonstrate on the most simple level what heat treat can do. All 3 of these steels are very, very simple. Okay, very simple steels composition-wise, basically identical. But what's going to make the biggest difference on, so what's basically going to separate these steels is the heat treat. And we're going to see who does a better job of that. My money's on the Carter for obvious reasons. So all of them are taken through the same. Sharpening progression. DMT coarse, DMT fine, 1 micron strop, 10 passes per side. These were all a breeze. I've been sharpening a lot of other steels that are much more wear abrasion resistant. So these were all a blast. They all came up great. They were all basically hair whittling. Yeah, pretty much. I think all were catching and pulling hair by the end of that progression. So they all are going to be, they're all where they should be. So I'm going to tape off a 1-inch section of blade, and I'm going to push cut it through cardboard, double wall cardboard, until it no longer shaves hair. And then I'm going to continue to do it until it no longer will cut paper against the grain. For those of you who are new to this and have never seen my testing before, because that happens a lot. And for those of you that say I talk too much, go fuck yourself as well. I had some guy tell me that today. Why do men do that? If you think I talk too much, just don't even watch the video. Why you gotta act like a 6-year-old girl and be like, you talk too much? You act like a teenage girl, man. Like, grow a set of nuts. Nobody cares about your opinion. If you don't like me, give it a thumbs down, and then just keep it moving, baby. That's it. You guys, like, you feel the need to type. Sad, man. Y'all have too much time on your hands. So, without further ado, the testing. So, the test is over. However, because I'm a glutton for pain, started thinking. I talked about in the last video, and Outpost 76, Gerald has talked about this before. Perspective, right? So, I think a lot of us get wrapped up, me included, in this edge retention, right? How much we can get out of each steel. But there's also the fact, and Patty's Potato Peeler has been doing this, and I fucking love him for this. He's been doing... Patty's a regular knife lover who, with Jeff Jewell, has gotten into freehand sharpening. And he's constantly advocating. He did a reprofile, his very first reprofile he put up. He's done a bunch of other vids where he's shown cutting and then strop back and whatnot. And I love the man for it because he's, you know, I'm a nerdy, geeky guy who geeks out on sharpening and all that. He's a regular guy who started to love, who was a knife guy who fell in love with sharpening. So I love watching him do that kind of stuff. And thank you, Patty, so much. And thank you, Jeff, for giving him all your tutelage and guidance. Because if you don't know who Jeff Jewell is, you need to go find out. The guy's like Yoda, especially when it comes to sharpening. So I thought, let me not end the video yet. What I'm going to do is this. So I'm going to take this knife right here. Here's the GEC during the test. And it is... I took the tape off, so hopefully I hit the right spot. So in the middle here, it should be... Yeah, so you guys see? It's kind of... Now, on the back, it'll catch in the tip. It'll catch this middle part. It just... See? All right, so then that middle part is where it's dull. So... Let's see if this works. What I thought is I would take a 1 micron strop on leather. This leather was provided by Rough Rooster Sharpening. My boy, Chris, I don't think I need to say this, but if you don't know who Rough Rooster Sharpening is, take your rusty knife and stick it in your fucking chest. Go, I mean, I don't feel like I need to say this. I feel like everybody knows who Rough Rooster is, but Rough Rooster, if you don't know who the fuck the guy is a fucking guru with sharpening, especially when it comes to Arkansas stones, natural Arkansas. So yeah, if by some weird miracle you're not subbed to him already and you're on this channel, go sub to him. He's a genius when it comes to sharpening, especially when it comes, he's a master when it comes to those natural Arkansas stones. So he actually sent me a bunch of stropping compound. Me and him gone back and forth with some stuff. And he actually sent me some leather. Gorgeous veg tan leather. And so did my buddy Mississippi Knife Nut, who's another up-and-coming YouTuber. So I've got some 1 micron paste on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to strop this. I'm going to start off with 10 passes per side. And I'm going to see if I can get it to cut paper. And then I'm going to stop the video real quick, retape this, and I'm going to see how many more feet of cardboard I can cut once I get this back to a working edge, to kind of give us all some perspective on how much you can actually get out of an edge, just a little bit. This isn't if you kept stropping it, but how much you can get really out of one edge and how important it is to learn how to sharpen and to get yourself a strop and to maintain your own tools, okay? So we'll just do this live right here because it shouldn't take very, well, live, but you know. Again, a little perspective. So...
In the something different about the way I feel today. Is the sun now shining brighter than yesterday? I still feel like hell, but it's a better deal. Music's got me struggling and real. Got my soul, the wounds I feel. Now I've got on.
Now again, talking about perspective. Let's remember I only did a 1-inch section. Okay, I didn't do the tip or the back. So that was concentrate on a 1-inch section. So we'll see. I don't know if that's enough to bring it back to a paper shaving, but let's find out. Okay. It is. So that was 10 passes on a 1 micron strop. Okay, sorry for the camera shaking. I'm going to give it 5 more on each side real quick, okay? Just for good measure.
Music flowing from this stage. I turned all my problems into violent ricochet. All those direct hits are smashed into a minor gray.
Alright, so there you go. You can actually see some metal coming off that. So it should be, it's 1095, it's relatively. Okay, so yeah, we've got it back to, you saw how that was a total of, not even 15 passes per side, right? On a 1 micron leather strap, okay? And I brought it back to that. I don't know if it'll shave hair. Actually it will. It is back to hair shit. Barely. It's barely there. It'll scrape shave pretty good. So there you go. You saw that real quick right here. Didn't take a whole lot. And now we are back to paper against the grain, paper slicing. So I'm going to take it, tape it back off, and see how many more feet I can get with just that simple strap. A ball. So here we go.
This day, from this day,
How you like that, Gerald? All right. So, to the business at hand. 3 knives. Oop, here. 3 knives. 3 different price points, really. 3 different levels of production, right? So this was a simple steel test. And then I decided at the end of that to throw in that little stropping demo, if you will. All right, so what are the results? As everybody knows, I do this test as transparent as I possibly can. Sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right. This test actually couldn't have gone better. It literally went straight across the line, the way I expected. So, the results. The Case Sodbuster Jr., this little guy right here. This thing for a fine edge holding, cut 22 times, it was 52.25 feet, so 52.3 feet. Here's what's funny. As for a working edge, it cut nothing. When I went to go, if you could, I don't know if you guys saw it in the beginning. Hopefully I didn't fast forward it. Hopefully I won't. When I went to start to cut paper, there was no edge. It was just dead. It was done. There was nothing left. So yeah, I cut 52 feet. So there you go. Remember, a 1-inch section on some. This is a $28 knife. I think something like that. Maybe cheaper. You can get them online. I got them from a brick and mortar store, so it's probably more. But yeah, so 52.3 feet. Okay. I'll save. Here we go. Oh, we'll do this. The GEC, the sod, but this is the bull bust. No, what the hell is this thing? Whatever the hell is it. The 71. I can't remember. They got the new bigger one. I can't remember what it's called. This is 1095, and this guy here again, very similar steel, smaller production. Now for the record, the edge on this thing was so fucking burnt when I got it. It took me like 5 or 6 sharpenings to get this thing to actually take an edge. But so this thing has like 10 sharpenings on it. Matter of fact, if you can see, I actually had to add a choil right there. I sharpened past the choil because it took me so many times to get an edge. I had to put a new sharpening notch in there. Yeah, so that's a real thing. So this fine edge holding, 25 times, which was 59.4 feet. But here's where we talk about heat treat and where things can go. While this knife was literally dull. It was literally dull by the end of that. This knife kept going. This knife cut another 24 times for another 57 feet, giving it a grand total working edge. So total everything edge on this knife was 52.25 feet. Total edge on this knife was 116.4. That's excellent. If I can recall properly, that's not too far out of the way of some D2 that I've done. I think D2 is usually around 70 for the fine edge. So that's actually not too bad at all. So total 116 feet on a 1-inch section. But I'll get back to that because I did the strop test. This knife right here, this is the Murray Carter, I think he calls it like the perfect knife or something like that. Something like that. It is great. I mean, ergos. And Vinny, I mean, again, Vinny lent me this from Nero Knives. So Vinny, thank you so much, man. Especially let me have this so long. This is a hell of a knife, and I've had a lot of fun, man. I whittled with this thing. I've torqued. I mean, I've done all kinds of fun stuff with it, and it's a blast, man. If you were going to get a knife to EDC, like a fixed blade, this is it. Super comfortable. Very, very comfortable knife. Super. So this is a custom knife. This is Shirogami number 1 or 2. I think it's number 1 steel. So it's very, 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 very simple. Well, if it's number 1, it's 1.4% carbon. But if it's Shirogami number 2, it's 1% carbon. I didn't get a chance to look it up. This steel literally has nothing but carbon in it. That's it. Very little impure. There's no chromium. There's nothing. There's even less shit than there is in 1095 or 1085. So very simple steel. Ooh, ooh. Come here. All right. And I didn't cut myself. Woo! All right. Cheers. The drunker Steve gets some more inclined he is to cut himself. This knife right here, this was really cool. As we continue up the heat treat, I guess, but you know, small to large, batch wise, or large to small batch. Fine edge holding, 39 cuts, 92.6 feet. This guy cut till it would no longer shave hair, which was crazy. And then working edge, another 28 cuts for 66.5 feet, giving a grand total of 159.1 feet. Guys, this is a very simple steel right here. Okay, this is an example of what a very good heat treat with a very simple steel can do. This knife sharpens up like that. It's ground pretty well, and it's here 92.6 feet. You're getting into the range of some not so good S30V. You're getting into the range. You're well past D2. So there you guys go. So this is why I'm trying to emphasize it's not all composition, guys. It's what you do with it. What you do with the heat treat, and then you as a user, what you do with it. Well, heat treat geometry, and then what you do with it as a user. So you can see this knife made of very, very, very simple stuff. Was heat treated well, and it performed as such. I mean, you're getting 159 on a 1-inch section, guys. 1-inch section. This thing cut 159, 160 feet. That's a tremendous amount of cutting for a simple white steel knife, regardless whether this is number 1 or number 2 white. I mean, you get what I'm saying, guys? Tremendous amount of edge retention out of such a simple steel. So, kudos to Murray Carter. He did his job like he should. Case, it's a case knife. I mean, sorry, case guys, you're gonna hate on me. You can't eat snot, whatever, bro, whatever. So then, to add to this, the stropping session. So at the end of it, I was like, you know what? The guys in the chat, you know, we talk about this thing, and you know, Ryan over at Banner 24/7, he gets a kick because my thing is always, you know, does it fucking matter? Does any of this? What fucking matters? I don't give a, I mean, I do give a fuck when I'm looking at steel charts and all this composition and heat treat protocols, but I'm a nerd. When I'm talking, then there's the normal guy side of me that goes, what does this fucking matter, right? What does it do, right? With the geometry, with the blade steel, does it fucking matter to you and me, the everyday guy who carries this knife around with him and breaks down a bunch of boxes, rope, and straps at work, right? So I decided to throw, like I said, do a little perspective because you know him and Gerald at Appo 76 been talking about that a lot, and it's a good point. A lot of us, and like I said, and that's why I brought up Patty, because Patty's been pushing to sharpen, and I need to do that more often. My man Anthony Esposito over at what the hell's his channel's name? Anthony Esposito. He's the Italian Stallion. He's the man that will teach you how to straight razor shave in a heartbeat. Nero, you should, if you don't watch that guy, you should go watch him because you're very good. You know a lot about straight razors. You know, I need to promote sharpening more, and I need to tell guys and start demoing some more sharpening stuff. I've done a couple live feeds, but I need to do more about it. So I wanted to real quick just take the tape off, grab a strop it up real quick. I think I want to say I did it 15 times per side, something in that ballpark, and then see if I could bring an edge back, right? This is a simple enough steel. Because, again, these knives are not meant for, well, maybe the 71 is, but, you know, these are secondary knives, or they might be your primary knife. But the benefit of having a knife that doesn't have a lot of wear resistance, doesn't have a lot of vanadium and all these kind of things in it, is it will sharpen easy. And if it's heat treated right, not only will it sharpen easy, it'll hold a decent edge, and then it'll strop back real easy. And that's what this knife did. I want to say it was 15 times per side on a 1 micron strop. If you got 3 or 4 micron, it'll go even faster. Okay, that's a very, very fine strop. We throw that word 1 micron around a lot, but it's a really fine strop. So I did that, and I got it to cut paper again real quickly. Nothing out of the ordinary. You guys saw me do it. And then I got this to cut another 13 times, so another 30.9 feet on that 1-inch section. So on this 1-inch section, cutting all the way till it'll no longer cut paper and giving it 15 passes per side, I then got another 30 feet. So this gave this a grand total of 147.3 feet on a 1-inch section with 1 strop. So imagine, I mean, this blade, you got about a 3-inch blade length. So you could feasibly cut 300 feet worth of cardboard on this edge if you use the whole edge, right? And then strop it back and get another, that was what? So when I stropped it, I got roughly 50% of the edge back in edge life, right? Roughly 59.4 feet, 30, so roughly 50%. So hypothetically speaking, again, just take a rough estimate, guys. If you sharpen this knife up like I did, the DMT Chorus, 1 micron strop, blah, 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 and you cut with this whole edge, you could easily cut 300 feet. I got 116, but let's just say 300 feet with this whole edge, and then strop it back and get another 150 feet. So on this one little knife, you could get 450 foot worth of cardboard, 450 feet worth of cardboard. That's a lot. I mean, like, that's probably enough for most dudes. And here's the thing, guys. This knife was probably the most fun to cut with because the grind's very well done and it's got a very thin blade stock on top of a very good grind. I want to say it's like 10 or 11 thousandths behind the edge. So, like I talked about in my last video, your perceived edge retention, this knife will cut cardboard when it's dull because it's a short blade, it's thin stock, and it's thinly ground. So this is a knife that, you know, in 1095, you could EDC this thing and break down cardboard all day long. And because it's so thin, you could probably pop this right through straps, even when it's dull. So, again, just a little perspective on what you can get and what you can do with a really, really simple steel. This isn't S30V, this isn't S35VN, this isn't anything magical. This is a GEC. You know, this is just, that's it. It's just a simple steel. So that was the point of all this, guys. Show you guys what you can get out of a simple steel. And then I hope that helped you guys help open up some eyes about the benefits of a simple carbon steel, or how much you can get. You know, ask yourself, how much do I cut in a day, right? How many boxes am I breaking down in a day, right? So is it like 400 foot worth of boxes? Maybe. You could get through it with this $70 GEC. And I love this knife because this is actually if you look at it, you can really, I can get my whole hand on this guy. And it's got a really, really stiff back spring. So you could totally EDC this knife. And I'm not trying to sell GECs, I'm just saying a little perspective. So there we go. That's a test, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for watching. If you don't like my camera zooming in and out, or you think I talk too much, fuck you. Everybody else, I got a D2 test coming tomorrow. So I am actually going to do it because I already sharpened the knives. And I kind of might have forgot to mention Jack Farm Boy. If you do not go to Jack Farm, if you don't know of Jack Farm Boy, go subscribe to his channel. He's a phenomenal guy. Somehow, American cheese, it slipped my mind, American cheese. I don't know how it slipped my mind, American cheese, but it did. So, Jack Farm Boy is a good friend of mine, and hopefully you will go and subscribe to his channel and enjoy all of his wonderful content. And he also has, like, his videos are just cool looking. So, we'll see you guys on the next one, man.